Hi fellow pilgrims, thank you so much for your patience. I'm finally back with a follow-up on my Camino gear haul. This isn't the full list of everything that I brought, but a good majority, so I'm going to go ahead and share with you how I felt about that first haul. So this is the review. So I got my list here of everything that I wrote down. So first things first were those UFO sandals. You can tell that they've been very much loved and worn. These honestly were a godsend for me and is a great recovery shoe. They are quite plushy and super comfortable. I know that there are other recovery sandals out there. Hoka makes some. I know other brands make them. I think Adidas has some good slides too. But this is what I recommend. They bounce back pretty easily. They're also machine washable. Clearly I need to wash mine. I mean, they're still in good shape for 500 miles, wouldn't you say? They were my shower shoe, and if anything were to happen to where I couldn't wear my actual shoes, like my feet were in such pain, I get horrible blisters genetically, so these were a great comfort for me when I couldn't bear my trail runners anymore. So highly recommend UFO sandals here. My next item, I did say that I was going to bring my Ultra Lone Peak 5s. They have 4s, they have 5s, 6s, and now they have the 7s out. It's a great shoe. It's a staple shoe, a very popular shoe for trail and thru runners. I ended up going with the Olympus. I brought the Olympus 4s, but later on I stopped in Leon and I couldn't bear it anymore, so I went and I got the 5s. These are the men's, so they are much larger. I was like a 40 in women's, and these are a 42 in men's, so it's a bit wider, bit longer, but it was great for me after having my feet swell that long. It was a great buy for me. I also had custom inserts that I was able to use no problem. Next thing was my Osprey Cirrus 36 liter. I think this was a great buy. I really like the fit on this. I think it was super comfortable for me. I think a 36 is a good size. I don't think you would need to go bigger. If you wanted to bring a tent and actually backpack along your trail, I would go for a bigger bag, but I don't think bigger than a 36, maybe a 38, but I don't think you need to go bigger than that. You know, I recommend this bag, but I wouldn't say that this is for everybody. I highly recommend you going in to an outdoor store or an REI and getting fitted for a pack. You know, there's Deuter, there's Gregory, there's Osprey, there's all sorts of other packs out there to try. Everyone's back is different, everyone's shoulder length, everyone's torso length is different. So, you know, I might recommend this bag, but it might not be right for you and your body shape. So highly recommend go into the store and try it on. Don't just buy one online and call it good. I also ended up buying a little impulse bag. It's just this collapsible Sea to Summit day pack, and it literally, you know, size less than the size of my fist. I can even hang it off my bag. It was great when I wanted to send this bag ahead, which I did a few times, especially in the beginning. I didn't have it just because I knew I was going through the peonies, and I didn't want to have to deal with having all this weight with me because I knew I was going to send stuff ahead, which I ended up doing. I bought a couple things when I was in Paris and a couple things along the way, as you do, and I didn't want to have that all with me at once. And you can ship things ahead. It's about it is €5. There was one that was 4 near the end. And you can send it ahead to whatever destination you know you're going to. If you don't know, they usually take it to the municipal in that town. But that's a great resource for those that didn't know that you can send your bag ahead. Highly recommend doing that if you choose. The only downside with having that day pack is it was just like a normal backpack. It didn't have the chest clip or the hip clip. So what I would do is I had this little towel that I would use for sweat, for snot, whatever gross stuff I needed to get rid of, that would just kind of hang here on this pack. But on my day pack, I would take it and I would, you know, loop it on each side and just tie it together to where I could get the weight off of my shoulders, which was great because I could use this for multiple things other than its main purpose. So I highly recommend having something like this. A lot of people will use a buff or a bandana, but I like to have more than just the one. If you bring one bandana, maybe bring two, or a bandana and a buff, or a towel and a buff, you know, mix it up. Have more than one, because I used more than one when I was out there. So poncho, I don't have it out with me, but the poncho I did like, it worked for me. I do see how people think that it can get very stormy and windy and kind of blow up sometimes. I had one that had buttons along the side and I can adjust it and snap it closed. I really liked that one. I didn't really have any issues in the poncho. I felt that it worked well for me. I didn't have to take off everything to get it and put it back on. I could put it in my pocket even and just bring it out as needed, or even I would stick it in here in between the pack, and just less of a hassle for me to take everything off and grab it and etc., and just keep doing that over and over again, because sometimes it would be like, oh, it's gonna downpour for 5 minutes and then stop, much like the Pacific Northwest. If you know, you know. Pack towel, this guy, this one was wonderful. I mean, it's a personal hand towel, something like that, but this is the size. It's nothing crazy big. It was great for my feet. This is what I used it for. So like I said, I get horrible blisters, so keeping my feet dry, super important. So even if it was after a shower, just to make sure my feet were all nice and dry, or when I was changing my socks, I would dry my feet. I would put some Glide, Body Glide on. They have Body Glide for cyclists. They have some that are specific for women, and then they have a general one for blisters. I brought the woman one and the blister one, and I went through like 1.5 of those, but they were the smaller ones. I think if I got the bigger one, I would be just fine. They look like deodorant sticks, but that was a great option if you didn't want to use Vaseline. I did bring Vaseline as well. Next thing, earplugs. I didn't use them too often, but I highly recommend that you do just bring them. There were a couple nights where I was like, wow, I really wish I had them right now, and I didn't care to just grab them from I was on the top bunk and I didn't care to get down to get them. But I've also been raised with a sister and a mother that has snored horribly loud, so I guess I'm more used to it. I think it's just worth it to have it, even if you don't need it. It takes up a very small space and weighs practically nothing, so I think it's worth it just to have earplugs. Hanging toiletry bag, hanging toiletry bag, Sea to Summit. Still got some goodies in here. I like the size of this. You could go bigger if you wanted to, but I think this was just fine. This is the small. It's got a secret pocket in here too, 2 zippies, and then, you know, a big pouch here, and then one in here. It even had a mirror in there, which was kind of nice. I brought Lush shampoo and conditioning bars, and that was super helpful. I really liked that. I think they lasted a good amount of time, especially the conditioner. I made the mistake of putting them all in one bag, the conditioner, the shampoo, and my body soap. And, you know, over time, water, you know, there's going to be water in there, and the shampoo actually just kind of disintegrated over time. And I think that would have lasted a lot longer if I had them separate. These bags are super great though. These are just reusable Ziploc bags I found at Target. They have a couple, I think it's like a 2-pack, or I think it was a 2-pack, and some fun colors. So I recommend this. I recommend the Lush bags, the Lush shampoo and conditioner. I think that was really nice. I did eventually have to go and get, you know, a bottle, which I didn't like as much. But just don't make the mistake like me of keeping it all in one bag. So, platypus. So I did bring a platypus bag with me, collapsible water bottle with a little clip on it, and it would hang off my bag. It did break actually when I was walking into Santiago. It decided to break. But I highly recommend the platypus. I used it every single day. I really think that that was worth it for me. My travel organizer, hip belt. People have different opinions on fanny packs or hip belts. I did see quite a few out there. A lot of people would just bring their like Patagonia one, which I think is just super small. I feel like you can fit maybe your wallet, passport, and that's it. I wanted to have something that had substantially more room. I was able to have my Camino guidebook. I could have, you know, my hand sanitizer, my wash, my body glide, you know, all sorts of goodies for packets. I even had, you know, a tripod in here. At one point I had a watercolor set and paper in here. You know, I would wear this as a hip belt or like a purse, and I really wouldn't care. I mean, like, I think as a pilgrim you're not a fashionista in Spain or France. Like, I don't think there's a point to bringing all these high fashion items or purses. It's just one thing to lose, one thing that could get stolen, and who cares? You're a pilgrim, who cares what you look like? You know, so this was a great buy. I really liked this, and it was a great option on the plane ride too, so highly recommend. I did not bring the Chapani purse. I think I had it. I think I sent it ahead. I didn't think there was a point to having it after having this. I also did bring a money belt, which I wore probably the first couple days, and then overall I didn't find a use for it because I had that on me, and I knew that it wasn't going anywhere, and I knew better. I never put that down. If I was eating, I would drop it, put it in front of me. I didn't end up needing a money belt at all. Nomadics towel, my microfiber towel, I did use that every day. That was a great option. It does feel a little funky on your skin if you're not used to it, and at one point I did treat myself and I bought an actual towel, and that was totally fine. I used that for a bit and then eventually donated it before I left. But of course it's just going to fill your bag up. It's more space, it's more weight, so those are things to think about. I brought this one and I brought the other one too. I probably used this for a smidge amount of time. I didn't end up liking it as much as I thought I would. I really like the fact that it is, you know, it feels weightless. It you know, super small spaces it can fit, so it really wasn't a big deal to take with me. I just felt like overall I didn't have protection on the side of my face and my neck, which is where I really needed it during those hot days when I needed a hat regardless. So if you're gonna bring a hat, I recommend just having the full brim hat or the one that goes in the back, regardless if you think you look like a dork or not. It's highly recommended. I even saw some people that had caps wearing, you know, having towels off the side or bandanas off the side because the sun would hit them directly in the face or on the neck or wherever, and you were just exposed regardless of how much sunscreen you had. It got really hot out there at one point. I mean, I went in September, October, and I think it hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit easily. Masks are great to have. I brought 2 with me, and I'm happy that I brought 2 with me. I had a couple friends that didn't end up bringing them, some fellow pilgrims, so I would let them borrow the mask. Public transportation, you need a mask, and I know, like, I believe chiropractor and, like, those kinds of things, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And then pharmacies definitely need a mask. Spain has much stricter policies than France does when it comes to COVID. I believe Spain was hit harder with COVID. So just, you know, be respectful, of course, make sure you have a mask, and it doesn't hurt to have an extra one. S-hook. I don't have it because I lost it. I love that thing. I was pretty upset that I lost it on the trail. I'll make a whole video of everything that I lost on the trail, don't worry. This does come with a hook, but it was so nice to have the S hook as well. Great, especially for showers. I could hang up my clothes, I could hang up this bag, because a good chunk of time there wouldn't be places to put your stuff. That happens, you know, so I highly recommend having an S hook with you as well. What else? Dry sack. I thought the dry sack was important. I also had this mini one that I would put my electronics in. That was super important for me too. Another thing I brought was this collapsible Sea to Summit Tupperware. So it's, you know, screw on top, and I believe this is the medium size. Super nice, super convenient. It's about 14 fluid ounces. Great for leftovers or things to just, you know, you could throw away the packaging and put a meal in here and just have something while you're on the trail without having to stop and go buy some food. I think this is a really great purchase, and I highly recommend. I don't think too many people actually use them or like know to bring them, and I use this several times on trail. I also brought a spork with me that attaches to my bag, and that was also a Sea to Summit one as well. Buffs. Buffs are so important. I wish I brought two, honestly. They do sell them out there, so if later on you feel that you need one, or even a Camino themed one, they have so many out there. Thought it'd be the coolest cat, but no, I'm just a normal person. So this was super wonderful. I would use it as a headband, I would use it as a towel. I even used it to protect my arms at one point. I would just use it as a sleeve. There was one day I was walking and wearing a short sleeve shirt that day, and so I started to feel the burn. So I ended up, it was just this side because that's where the sun was coming from, and I had my Camino sleeve on, and that helped take away a lot of the heat. Like, I felt instant relief and a lot cooler. So I think having a buff is super important, and the fact that it is something multi-use is great. So having something like a towel, like a quick dry towel, cooling towel, and a buff, I think are really important and great uses out there. Merino wool gloves is what I've put before. I ended up taking these fleece ones, just a little bit thicker, a little more durable than my other ones. They have little clips on the side, so they connect, so if I'm not going to lose one, it's either I lose both or not at all. So these were a great option. So next thing is one of my favorite purchases before the Camino. This was also a last minute item that I got, was the Sea to Summit hand wash. And these are just like these little leaves that you use, and you just wash your hands with them. You put them on your hand, run water, and just rub your hands together, and it's just this leaf of soap. There was a good amount of places and, you know, bathrooms that didn't have soap at all. No hand sanitizer, no soap, period. And especially with COVID still going around, I did not want to chance anything like that. I did also bring hand sanitizer. I recommend bringing both. You know, alcohol kills a good amount of stuff, but you know, over time that just makes your hands really bad, and your skin kind of hates you. So I recommend bringing both for those cases. Trekking poles. So I just have these simple, they're Cascade brand carbon trekking poles. I got them for like $30 at Costco forever ago. The tips of them are pretty worn, as you can see. These tips are a little bit different than ones you're typically used to. It came with a couple. I brought an extra pair, but you can always buy them while you're out there. A lot of people, I see a lot of people not wear, I can't take it off now. I see a lot of people having no tips, and that's actually really bad for your poles, and that's not going to provide you all the grip that you need. So please make sure your poles have tips on them before you go, please. They do have them out there. I think it was my friend needed them the first day. She didn't have tips on her poles. I think they were $8 for the pair. So you know, it's one less thing to get out there. You know, I think you should just get them. I believe they're cheaper here. But yeah, highly recommend poles. You can buy them out there, but why spend more money while you're out there if you don't have to? This was a good buy. I've had these for years, and they've gone through a whole Camino now and still are great shape. How I broke these down, I'll show you. I just pulled them all out, and you know, they come apart in 3 pieces. And what I did here was I then wrapped my tips with a towel and then put it in a dry sack, and then put that dry sack in my bag. And I had no issues with the airline. The whole point of them taking it away is because it looks like a weapon. So make sure you cover your tips as well, and then wrap them in a towel, put them in a bag, and then a bag again. That's what worked for me. It might not work for you, but that was how I got away with it, going there and coming back. So I also had these. I only had to bring a few ponytails. These like coiled ones. I've never used before until this, and I used like the same one the whole time and had a backup. I ended up using my backup for my poles, just to tie them together. There's a lot of community spaces where you throw your shoes, throw your poles, and this was just kind of a good indicator that, hey, these are mine. You know, don't take them. Or even an indicator for me, if these are yours. You know, a lot of them look similar. If you're waking up in the morning and you're not really paying attention, you could grab somebody else's poles. So it was just a nice little tag for me to have on mine. Next was my coat. It was the Magma 850. It is the 850 down jacket. I will warn you that if down gets wet, it is useless. So make sure if you do bring a down jacket with you that you are conscious of the rain and water, and you are ready to go when the rain starts. I had no problem with my poncho, like I mentioned earlier. I could just throw it on and have no problem. So sometimes it would get a little damp, and I think over time it breaks down the life of that jacket. So just make sure you're caring for your stuff properly if that's the case. I think you can get away with a full synthetic jacket. I was debating between this guy and the Patagonia R1 Air jacket. That's also it's a technical fleece jacket, and I think would work, but I really liked how cozy and warm this felt for me. I could also use this as like a partial sleeping bag if I need a little bit more comfort. I have a 20-liter dry bag that I had as well, and I would put this jacket in there and have a little bit of air in there as well, and that was a great option for a pillow, very comfortable. I could also use that for a footrest when my feet were swollen and I need to hang them up. So that was a great option for me. So do as you go with that. Sea to Summit liner, I think that was a great purchase. I completely loved that. Excuse me. It had insect repellent. I didn't have any issues with bed bugs or anything like that. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen with others. Just, if you're worried about that, just check your bed, but I didn't have any issues. So I had that liner, which is pretty much like a warm cotton sheet type of feeling. That was like a sleeping bag because of the bottom being sewn as it was. I also brought with me a rumple blanket. It's about the size of a throw. This is their travel blanket in the PDX carpet because I'm from Oregon. And I really, really liked the combination of these two. I did not think a sleeping bag was necessary. Maybe if you're camping in a tent or if you're going during the winter months, I'd recommend that. If you were to bring one, maybe one of the super thin sleeping bags, or if you really like to be warm, go with a sleeping bag. But I really liked having this, and it was a great option for me because I could just hook it on the outside of my bag here and clip it on and have no issues. I could also take it off like how it is now, and I could sit on this and have some extra cushion. Doesn't really look like much, but this was enough to keep me fine, more comfortable while I sat down. My multi-port, I still use this guy all the time, every day. My multi-port that has some adaptions with it that I just slip on, pop on. A great use. I know other pilgrims were able to use it as well. It has 4. It's pretty lightweight, honestly. I recommend having one of these, especially if you have multiple things to charge. At any given point, I think the most I had was 3 things to charge. I had my phone, I had my Apple Watch, and I had a power bank. I didn't end up charging them all at once, but I'm saying I only needed up to 3. So having an extra one for a fellow pilgrim or whatever, it's just nice, especially if there's only one outlet. You can throw yours on instead of someone's one plug and just plug theirs into yours, and so many people are happier. You're better off with having this than a one plug. Shampoo and conditioner I already talked about with the Lush bars. I still love them. I still would recommend just keeping them separate. Insect spray I did bring. I can't even see the brand anymore, but it's just this easy flip cap perfume type. It has a 98% DEET, so I think that was really nice for me. I recommend just using Perithium, I think that's how you say it, where you can just spray down all of your stuff before you go, your shoes, your bags, your socks, your clothes, everything that you want, and then maybe take this on top of that. I think it's smarter to do that ahead of time and spray all of your stuff with the proper things. This is good to have. It's very small, and I was able to put it in my little side pouch. I also did bring Afterbite, which kind of comes out in a liquid form, but any irritation of a bite that you have, it just kind of cools it down and starts the healing, and prevents you from having to itch it like crazy later. So laundry wash, I had that Sea to Summit laundry wash that I went through. I accidentally left it at one of the hostels and then went back for it, and when I came back for it, there was like this much left because so many people had gone through it, thinking it was like a community wash. I think I would use that stuff again. It's a high concentrate, so you would only need a tiny cap full to wash your clothes. You can just squirt it on, get a good feeling for it. After that stuff ran out, I ended up using my soap bar, and that worked just fine. I didn't have any issues, so I like that combination. String, I think I used it once to hang up clothes. I had a friend that bought this little trinket from Amazon where it's a clothing line that kind of rolls up, and she could just pull it out. I think hers was like 10 feet, something like that, and then with the combination of hers and mine, we were able to just dry our clothes one night. I think it's good to have if you need to tie something to your pack or emergency situation for whatever you need it for. I think it's a good purchase, and it doesn't weigh anything, let's be real. The other thing I had was a duffel that was also a rain cover that was great for airports. So when I got to the airport, I was able to, I could break it down or I can put everything inside. It was nice to have that option. And then later on, I did send stuff ahead through the mail, having that in there. So that is my whole list for the Camino haul that I originally put out. This is the review for that. So if you want to watch that video, you can go ahead and click over here. But thank you so much for listening to my long spiel, pilgrims. Feel free to subscribe for more content like this, please. And I will gladly be posting more videos in the future, all Camino related, and then later more hiking videos in general. I'm going to release quite a few videos coming up about my Camino, about my experience, other tips and tricks along the way, and I will probably do a full list of what I brought. This was just a good and important highlights that I recommend. But overall, I will be posting plenty of more Camino content, so feel free to like and follow, please. So thank you so much for watching, Pilgrims, and buen Camino. String. I had that string from before. I didn't... Sorry, my cat is crazy. He's trying to climb on the roof. Adventure kitty. Oh, getting you down is gonna be such a pain.